Hey, everybody. My name's Ryan Lambert. Somewhere down here is.
I'm Gower, and we are your I don't know what you want to. We're your hosts,
We're going to
moderators,
host something.
moderators de jour for Dangerous Visions short block of Chattanooga Film Festival. This is something we are really we're a part of. We love Chattanooga Film Festival. We love all these filmmakers, and we're really partial to short films. That's why we are
Here's my
part of
tattoo.
this event.
You can have a tattoo somewhere. It says Chattanooga Film Festival. I can't, whatever, it's there.
Now lick your elbow. See if you can lick that. See, you can't do it's impossible.
My very first Chattanooga Film Festival, I got inked with the logo forever. So I'm forever attached to this festival, and I love it dearly. I try to go when I can live. When it went virtual, I was there, and I'm here now. Am I? If I'm virtual, am I actually here?
That's to be determined. You're a little fuzzy, but yeah, Chattanooga's great. Everybody that's in this, if it's for your first time or not, if it's your first time being involved with Chattanooga Film Festival, great group of people, great kind of family of filmmakers and festival folks. Right, like Ryan was saying, Ryan and I got invited a number of years ago because they were doing a special screening of a movie that we made together 7,500 years ago called The Monster Squad.
35,000 years ago.
35,000 years ago called The Monster Squad. And that just kicked off a relationship, and we've always been involved. And then I was fortunate enough, Chris and the gang were gracious enough to program a documentary that I made called Wolfman's Got Nards that actually premiered at Chattanooga. We slotted it in there first. That kicked everything off, and then there were nards everywhere. So it was just
nards.
It was just all.
Can't get away from the nards.
It's all Chattanooga's fault. But
so cheers,
Ryan
everybody.
And I also cheers.
Let's welcome our filmmakers and our actors and producers, and let's kick this off.
Ryan, you started off with a couple of your questions.
I saw a lot of a million shorts, and they were all fantastic. So I'm not sure how we're gonna get through everybody's film and how they and their process, but I don't know. Let's start with Casey. Casey, that was pretty mind-blowing. Do you want to talk a little bit about your process and how you came about making this film? Why don't you introduce the film first?
Sure. People probably debating amongst themselves how to pronounce it. Apparently nobody can agree, but some guy on YouTube, and as we all know, YouTube does not lie, says that some Greek guy said it's actually supposed to be pronounced Charon. Some people say Chiron, some people say Karen, some people say Sharon. I say Chiron.
I thought it was Chiron.
Chiron, yeah, Chiron. That's what I always say.
Yes, I got it right.
So, it's actually, of all the things, it took the longest, I think, of anything I've ever made, even the feature films. Like, it just took forever, and I don't know. It's just, I think it probably started, the idea started when I was, like probably a lot of films this year. I live alone. So during quarantine, I spent the better part of a year and a half not speaking to a single other human being, which is just a really insane thing. And you do kind of start to feel like you're just in space. Like there's no one else out there. All you have is these memories of things that used to happen in the outside world. And then it just kind of grew from there. I wrote the monologue, and and then it was about, for a short film, it took me a long time. Generally, I'm pretty quick with short films, but that one took almost a better part of a year. And
I would say that I felt that isolation watching it, which I appreciated because it made me feel like, oh, we're all actually, the isolation made me feel that I wasn't alone in a strange way. The other thing I'd say about it is that, I mean, I'd almost I'd almost put it in the categories. It's like a museum piece to me. Like it's something
Oh,
that you
wow.
like kind of walk into like a dark room in a museum. You're like, what's going on in here? And then, you put on headphones and there's a big screen and it's dark and you're watching it with a bunch of people and maybe it makes you feel like you're not so alone. And so I really appreciated that. So thank you,
Somebody
Casey.
somebody reached out to me yesterday because, any intelligent person was in a bad place yesterday, and
Yeah.
they said that watching it made them feel better. And I
Yep.
actually spent the morning crying over that. I'm not going to lie about it. It really helped me out and made me feel better to know that, because in these times you kind of go, what's the point of art? Well, that's the point of art,
Yep.
so it's it was a good thing, and glad it reached you like that. It's either that, some meaningful experience that people have, or they contact me and they go, I just felt like I was on acid for 19 minutes. What the hell?
It does have that effect. It does have that effect. I tried like, don't trip out, Ryan. Don't freak out. Just watch the film and sort of let it take you in. So I
Hmm.
appreciate that. So thanks,
Yeah,
Casey.
Yeah,
yeah.
certainly a good thing to kick off as we're coming out of this weird time of the last couple of years, and then kind of entering back into the world of seeing people, like Casey said, when you haven't seen anybody for a while or been around other human beings. But we sort of see a little of that theme in a few of these shorts, in these blocks here, and how do we enter back into the world and have our relationships, and that kind of segues right back into we've had a couple where people are alone, isolated, they're crashed on another planet, they are they're trying to discover where they are or escape, and you just don't know what they are. And one of those is Exosapien, right, Ryan? We talked about this. It was one of the
Andre
first
and
set
I
lists we saw.
talked about Exosapien a lot. So James, what a wow, what a feat you've created.
There was a lot
Um,
in there.
there was a lot going
Thanks,
on in
guys. I
there.
appreciate that.
I really thought that I don't know how many shorts or features you've made, but if it's your first or second or third, that was no small feat. What was your inspiration for that, and how did you actually like? I always like to know how did everything like come together? Funding,
Yeah.
casting, and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, so I'm mainly a writer producer. I wrote and produced Fried Barry, which came out on Shudder last year, and I'm working on we're in pre-production on the Street Trash remake right now.
Okay.
And I got financing together for this short, and I wrote the script, and it was like such a personal. This is like so cheesy and overdone, but it was such a personal story to me that I just decided that I wanted to direct it myself. And it's just basically all of my favorite kind of sci-fi fiction just kind of smashed together into one story.
I was going to say there was a little
Like,
bit. I saw a little bit of Predator going on in there. I saw a little bit of
yeah,
little
yeah.
Alien.
Yeah,
So
definitely. Like Ridley Scott was a big inspiration. In fact, we shot in the same location where they shot Raised by Wolves, his new
yeah,
HBO series.
I
Yeah,
love
so
that
we were
show.
kind of
Beautiful
going
show.
for that same kind of aesthetic. And then also combine that with like Tarkovsky's Stalker, like the kind of industrial decay mixed with wilderness taking over. And then also Neon Genesis Evangelion a lot.
Mhm.
That was a big inspiration as well. And yeah, I mean, I guess maybe not consciously I was writing it about kind of reforming your identity after being in isolation for so long. But now that you mention that, it does actually kind of fit the bill a little bit. Um, and yeah, I mean, pretty much my plans with this short is to adapt it into long form, into a series, because I've got such a clear idea of this kind of world, and a lot of stories that I want to keep telling in the same world. And the short film is a kind of introduction. It's just a little teaser to like a kind of full kind of story that I want to tell.
A lot of the shorts that I saw were it seemed like they were a little proof of concept. Like I wanted more of the story. I wanted more of the characters. I needed to know more. Sometimes it just kind of, you know, cuts off and it's kind of like nice little bow on the end and it's like, love it, great. But then it's like sometimes it's just like, oh no, where else is that? Can I get more? I need more. I'm like starving for more of this. So I appreciate that, James. I do want more. I can't wait to see more. I can't wait to see the feature and let us know the progress that's going on there. One of the other ones that sort of stuck out for me was A New Day. Nate, what an incredible concept. What an amazing production. It just seemed like something that just sort of came out of left field for me. You know, you watch a lot of these films and they're very linear. They're linear, or I mean, sorry, Casey, not linear in your case, but but Nate, what was your? How did this come about?
Well, during COVID, when it wasn't particularly safe to get film crews together, I still wanted to make a short film, and I was a pretty big fan of Izzy Lee's Disco Graveyard and Obliteration of the Chickens. So I was trying to think of what can I do with just stock footage and a voiceover. And I was thinking about my day job and how we switched like company names at one point, and we had to watch this. They created a trailer for our new company name that we had to watch like 4 times, and it was a minute and a half of somebody just saying nothing. And so I started playing around with that idea, and it eventually sort of dawned on me that, you know, we are probably realistically about 4 or 5 years away from Elon Musk explaining to us that him ending the world is really a good thing. So
it had that vibe to me, and it because it starts out like looks like a, you know, like a regular sort of, you know, this is a company thing and and hey, and then it turned into like, I'm sorry, but like the voice over that went along with the I'm sorry was so soothing, and it's like it does feel like that's what this is coming to. My favorite line, I think, was like something about we're sorry we unleashed the beast.
Evatoth, the slumbering terror. Yeah, that was no, that was one of the fun things that, like, directing this was just me repeatedly saying like, no, more pleasant, more, no, keep it pleasant.
Yeah.
So it was yeah, it's you know, oh, fuck corporations, man. I don't know what to say.
Well, I mean, that's like the overall feeling that I got from it was like giant corporations that like sort of tell us like everything's going to be fine, but it's really not. So
I mean, that said, if a corporation wants to throw a lot of money at me to make a feature, like I'll take it. That's fine.
Sure, of course. Well, yeah.
Sure.
I don't have a ton of scruples. I'll deal with it.
But
and they do that, and we'll all work on it with you. We're all
yes.
That we'll all crew up right here. I think everybody on screen will do that as well. We totally.
Speaking of Izzy Lee, is she here?
She what? Yep.
I am here.
I see a picture of her. Oh, look at you outside.
Hi.
Oh.
We're on Cape Cod, actually.
You're on Cape Cod.
Yeah, man. Hey, Dave. Yeah, we're on vacation while this is going on, and we found a place where we can get some Wi-Fi, so it's working out so far. How you doing, man?
So, Izzy,
yeah.
What was going on in your brain? We have Megan too, and Marnie as well from Meet Friend, which is like, I don't even know what to say about this. I mean, it's just fun. It's, I guess, ridiculous in a weird way. And it's one of those things that you just like kind of roll with and just have fun as much as you possibly can.
Well, yeah. So Meet Friend began with some strange conversations that Steve and I had about vengeance and the world at large. And it just became quickly really absurd. And we wrote it and then we shot it. So basically it's just, we needed a heightened reality to get us out of the hellscape that we're living in. So we made one, and I hope it made people laugh.
Well, yeah, I think it's one of those opposite things where you're expecting, you don't know what you're expecting, and then all of a sudden there's a talking blob of meat that is telling you things that you're not expecting from the average blob of meat. And I think it says, I think there's a lot of different, I think there's more than one message in there, sometimes, but it's also interesting. We have, Marnie McKendry, who was actually in this short along with Megan Duffy, who actually made a great pair. I thought that was, you guys should have like your own like show. That'd be a good like mom daughter in the kitchen. What the hell is going on show?
I'm just writing her coattails. I'm just writing Marnie's coattails.
Yeah, that's okay. Hopefully they go far. Marnie, since we have you here, tell us a little bit about working on this project with Izzy and with Megan.
It was really fun. And at the end, I really missed it all. I wish I could just travel back in time and do it again.
So you missed the actual process of working on a film and being on the crew, so to speak. And now tell me, what was the hard? You said it was fun, which was awesome. What was the hardest part of being the lead in this short? If there wasn't.
Nothing.
Nothing. There you go. Got it. I think everything. It's always hard, as two former child actors on the screen here. And now a current one, everybody says don't work with kids, but I think we're all the exception to the rule. It's not bad to work with kids, right? Sometimes kids knock it out of the park. Sometimes.
Do you miss your meat friend, Marnie? Do you miss your meat friend?
Yes.
Do you get to say hi to him every once in a while? Does Izzy let you say hi to your meat friend?
I don't know.
Hopefully meat friend doesn't call you up and leave you like weird messages on your voicemail, because meat friend's a little scary. Meat friend's a little scary.
Hello, children.
No.
Oh, no.
Do it again.
Quiet down, children. Quiet down.
Marnie, do you right? Marnie, do you want to do another short film with me?
Yes.
Awesome. Let's do it. We'll talk soon.
There we go.
Thank you for coming. It's good to see you.
That's how this works. Speaking of very strange and bizarre concepts, Jim made a film called Pretty Pickle, which sort of freaked me out, actually. I really didn't know where this was going at first, and that's kind of a beautiful thing when you're watching a short, really, or any sort of piece of art. It's a little disturbing, but also has like a very like twinge of sense of humor to it in a weird way. Jim, you want to tell us where this all came out of and why you did this and why you had to get it out of your head?
Yeah. First of all, I'm very sorry, and you're welcome.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah. So there were a couple things kind of going on. I think when I was trying to sort of put this down, I was trying to marry the idea of like a deadpan indie like Coffee and Cigarettes or Francis Ha with sort of like the Night of the Living Dead and the Psychos, because they, share a common visual aesthetic. So I was like, let me see if I can meld the two in like a 4:3 black and white kind of thing, and tonally, what would that look like? At the same time, I think, part of it was like probably not as directly pandemic inspired as a lot of the other films, but I was thinking a lot about how in my own life as a Filipino American, my parents, my mom specifically, has often tasked me with like being the videographer at like open casket wakes for like my extended family, because that footage gets sent to the Philippines for relatives who can't make it over. And so I will preface that by saying Pretty Pickle is not autobiographical, but I was just thinking it's not at all autobiographical, but I was just thinking about this idea of like documenting that kind of experience and enter the genre component and how I could just make that as fucked up as possible, I guess.
Yeah, succeeded. And I don't know if it's not necessarily very on point, especially coming out of COVID times and seeing people and either restarting relationships or getting out of relationships or wanting relationships. Does anybody want them anymore. And what are you getting yourself into just because you're missing something or maybe someone. But I thought it hit some very archetypal things on there. It's like, do you look at the iPad? Do you look at someone's photos? Do you, just, is it because you can justify it by, this is better for me, or if something's just going really weird, but be careful beware what you actually might find. And then how do you deal with that? I think the realization of what he found on there is more scary than the fact that you just went on there and saw some weird shit. How do you deal with that?
Yeah.
And I think we've almost all been in, I don't want to say similar situations, except Casey Malone, but what would we do in that situation and how would you react? And then it just kind of hits you and then we're out and you have no idea what's going to happen.
There's a difference between finding something sort of shocking in the sense of like the real world, but finding that about someone that you're sharing a life with or a bed with, and then all of a sudden you find this out. What do you do with that information? Like, I mean, you kind of slip out the door, I got to get out of here. So I love when things like kind of do that U-turn thing. So I really loved that, Jim. So thank you for that. Anything? What's up next? What are you working on now?
So I'm keeping pretty busy, thankfully. I've got a couple of features in development, and I'm doing a limited series for Warner Media right now, which is equally sort of like dramatic and fucked up, because that's apparently my brand. So that's keeping busy. Pretty Pickle will move on to a Canadian festival that I can't yet say here, but I'm excited about that.
I wonder which one it is. Anyway,
I have no idea, but everyone will know in like 5 days. I just I don't want to be rude and spoil it prematurely.
No, congratulations, man. Good luck. Good luck with everything. Speaking of like I don't know, of our times and things like that, Megan and Mallory made a film called Off Limits, and it's pretty of its time, I think. We're all a little frightened. I mean, there's a different component to what happens to your protagonist, but as far as I'm a white male loser who no one wants to deal with, but there is something to be said about being alone in the back seat of a stranger's car, and what that means. I felt like there was a little bit of a Peter Wolf, aspect going on there. Sometimes your friends are like, stop, you're paranoid. So did this actually come out of some sort of truth?
Yeah,
a little bit.
Yeah, I actually had so there's multiple drivers throughout this film, but the first driver is an experience that I had directly, going to the airport like 10 a.m. Why would I think anything's weird about that? And the questions that this guy was asking me, it's one of those things where like, oh, individually these questions are normal. You're like asking if I live there, whatever. And like 10 minutes into this ride, I'm realizing this man knows I live alone. He knows where he picked me up from. He knows that he's taking me to the airport, like just creepy on creepy and creepy. And I like there's a line in there where he talks about picking up riders and dating them. And I like laughed because I felt so uncomfortable. And he looked at me straight, and we made it perfectly in the film because that part was too good to write because it was real, but looks dead in the rearview mirror. And he said, "You think you're off limits?" And I was like, "Hi everyone, nice knowing you."
A movie was born.
Yeah. So, and I reported it the second I got to the airport. I landed, and they were like, "So sorry. Like, we totally understand." That would have been really scary. You'll never ride with that driver again. We've like banned your accounts from intersecting. But there was no like look into his driving record, if there's been anything else against him. And then they were like, "We know you didn't ask for it, but here's a $5 credit on your next ride." And that ride alone was $30 to go to the airport. I was just like, I'm done with goodbye. So yeah, I, as a lot of us do, turned to the page, and this is the first thing I've ever written. And it kind of poured out of me, and I talked to other people, and it's scary. When you do the research on this stuff, it is scary. And I came to Megan, and she had done a co-directorial thing before, and I'm like, would you want to like take the reins on this guy? I trust you, I know you. And we made a female-led crew that we're so proud of, because we wanted it to be the female eye of what it feels like to be in that backseat. Our DP, Isabella, was amazing and really helped capture that. Our sound gal, our VFX artist, we like made an actual app, a fake one, for all of, we were like, we're doing this real.
You know, liabilities.
I was going to ask you, that's so weird. I was going to ask you that. I'm like, that looked like a real app. Like,
yeah,
when you hit it, I'm like, is that a rides real?
Definitely strategic. We were like, we need something that's very
I was like, I need a different app. It's rides. I was trying to look for rides. I was like,
rides with the Y.
I like that it made you want to go get the app. Maybe you missed the message.
Well, but like I said before, no one wants to deal with this.
Right.
No, and that was part of the information too, is bringing that awareness to it, because not everyone knows what that's like if they've never experienced it. When I workshopped the script, someone in my group was a middle-aged man that was like, this is too Hollywoodized. And I was like, sir, this happened real to me. This is not even And then someone in the group, another woman, was like, that's why she has to make this, is because you think that this is not a real story.
And I'm so glad you also picked up on like the gaslighting aspect, because it is hard when it's so nuanced that you're like, is this a problem? Am I making it up in my head? And especially when your protective circle of trusted friends is also questioning. It's a very tough thing to do.
He's just being nice. He's just being conversational, just asking questions to be friendly, like all of those things. And I'm from the Midwest. We both are. So I was like, yeah, let me just tell you everything. You want my social security number? Like, stupid.
Right.
But yeah, it was every person that we've shown it to that has watched it, it's been if they hadn't experienced it personally, they know someone that has. And that's and then the people that hadn't were like, wow, I didn't realize this was.
I was kind of looking at it as that, like, it's almost like an awareness piece.
Yeah.
Like, did you guys know this is out there and this actually happens? And I know you hear stories every once in a while, like somebody was murdered in an Uber or whatever, but like, now it's like, I thought about it a little bit more. I'm like, it must be the kind of a terrifying feeling for someone that is vulnerable in that sense. So
and even
I think it's something to show people for other reasons other than just being a wonderful piece of art that you guys made.
Thank you.
Yeah, and it doesn't have to be death, even though that happens in this, in order for it to not be safe. Like there's
exactly sure. That's what I was thinking too. So thank you guys. I appreciate that. I want to move on to something that's like the most bizarre thing, and I'm not sure. Oh, look, Ryan McGlad, he perked up. Buddy movie is like, I'm not exactly sure what I was watching, which I love. I love Strange, and in my notes I said, I love Strange, this is strange. What am I watching? I felt like it was like, what is friendship is sort of a theme to me. What does that mean? And what does that mean to you?
Yeah, I mean, that was kind of exactly one of the main questions that like prompted the making of this film. And like, I guess similarly to most of the people that have spoken thus far, like I think that just the experience of being, unable to be around friends physically over the past couple of years in whatever sense, and several kind of fluctuations in relationships with people that I had, friends that I had, kind of prompted me to think about like the future, like as things become not even a specific sort of technological future, but like a sort of, if there was a dimension where objects could speak, and there was, a universe where a giant warehouse could bully people, in a sort of post-apocalyptic wasteland. Maybe that person might want to see someone that they haven't seen in a long time who was friends with them in middle school, and that person might just show up, and in this reality these people might be able to communicate with each other telepathically. And so it was a few different things that were
a little bit of a Napoleon Dynamite, like on acid vibe for me.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
their dynamic was very
that's a pitch that I've had for a few of my films.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah. No. Yeah. I like that.
Yeah, I mean I loved the aspect of the inanimate objects like speaking and sort of like melding with humans and sort of becoming friends or non-friends or enemies and things like that. But I always love when I just see a mind just going, the gears just turning and not kind of giving a shit what anyone thinks, that if you're going to get this, if you're not going to get this, it doesn't matter. And there probably is some sort of underlined thing that we're not getting, that is only in the mind of Ryan McGlade. So like, I appreciate that.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I was trying to capture a glimmer before it left my brain and never came back. So
I think these are fantastic examples, since we started off kind of talking about coming out of pandemic, kind of coming out of being isolated, and we're seeing about a spectrum of ideas, but they're all coming out of that kind of lens of where we are. And I'm glad everything is not exactly the same. And it's fascinating. That's what we like about short. Ryan and I talk about this all the time. It's what shorts really do. Yes, they're proof of concepts. Yes, they're nice little one-offs and they're fun, enjoyable things, but they really are messages of what people are thinking, and whether they're in Jim's crazy brain or Izzy Lee's, we know Izzy's brain. And but coming out of all these cool stuff that goes all over the place, and we've all seen these great stuff. And it's not just US based. We've got, if we raise hands, how many? I know, Alex, I believe you're in England, correct? Is that right? How many people are not US based that are on the screen right now? Is it just, okay, and Pat, got it, and James, that's right. So that's also something cool too, that we can all connect over this stuff. But I want to share, because Ryan made a grid of notes, and I want to segue into Alex's movie. And I just want to start off with Ryan Lambert's notes. Ryan, do you remember your notes on Sucker? If you don't, here they are. Here they are. A mysterious parasite grows out of a young girl, sucking the life out of her, controlling her while her mother stands by helplessly watching it till it happens to her. It escapes down the toilet. We're all doomed.
Am I close?
It was a pretty good summary. I would say that it's not her mum, though. It's her sister.
Oh, her sister. Okay, I'm just reading. Yeah, that's right. But
yeah,
the funny part of the notes is Ryan says, I instantly called my doc to have a mole on my back looked at. Loved it.
Perfect. Yes, check your mole.
Very, very true. I was like, this is terrifying. Like, it really does set you up to believe that you got to go get checked out. Like, don't let things go. Don't let things go to the wayside.
Well, that's been a message all year, since I've been touting that all year, since my incident on Court 5. But is this also something that we are looking at ourselves more and worrying about every little dot, every little paint of thing, or are we obsessing about things? Ryan's absolutely right. If you have something that's unfamiliar or weird, go get it checked out. Otherwise, you'll have a heart attack. And then, but if you do have a mole, it should get looked at. We shouldn't pass this up. But are we also hyper focused and super into, looking at, because that's all we've looked at is ourselves for, the last 2 years. And Alex, where did all this come from a little bit? You started off, but of course, Ryan and I did a good job of interrupting again.
No, it's fine. I was going to say, I wouldn't disagree. I think there's definitely potential navel gazing that has happened as a result. The mole for me is very much sort of the externalizing of it. There's also this sort of through line for me with the sisters of this you know, the younger sister basically kind of having mental health issues as well. So it's a case of her shutting herself off to her sister, her family. So it's the little things that can grow into big problems, essentially. And so I don't think it's worth over obsessing about them, but it's definitely not worth letting it grow into a huge, massive leech that's going to sap your life dry and your family's life dry. So yeah, get checked.
It was a simple film as well, in a sense that I always like to talk about not just like what the film was about, but how it was made, and what did you do to like get, not just like you wrote it, you got the funding, but like the actual process of making it and the effects that you had. What was that like? And did you have a vision of what it was going to look like beforehand?
Yeah, I mean, I would definitely say that the practical creature effect in it definitely led the way with it. I always had that image of the leech descending from the ceiling in my head. That was probably the first image that came to mind. And creating the actual practical sucker prop actually probably took about 6 months. So I was developing that with we were working remotely. This was all during the height of COVID. And so that was like back and forth. And then once we had the creature, everything else started falling into place. And that kind of led the way for it. I don't know if that answers the question.
No, that absolutely. Thank you so much. I love that. Well, obviously we love practical effects. Two things I want to talk about as far as practical effects is one, we got to talk to Chris about Guts. But then I also want to definitely get to Gregory about Hellhole. But let's talk to Chris first. What the hell, dude?
Yeah, I know.
What the hell? What did you make there? I had like obviously there was some like office sort of like vibes going on, like in like, you know, in a surreal world. But
yeah, I mean, I just got a weird image of a dude with his guts hanging out in an office, and the scene that happens at the end, I don't want to spoil it, but he's at the table. Specifically, that scene was in my head. The really gross part. And I had to figure out something for him to do. So it was right during the pandemic started, and I was losing a lot of gigs, but like high up people were keeping their jobs. People are getting laid off. People are taking pay cuts. All these other high up dudes are like, fine. So I was like, I'm going to make something with an underdog who sticks it to the man and succeeds. And I'm a huge fan of bully movies from the 80s. Like even Monster Squad has Horace getting messed with. I named Guts guy Horace after Monster Squad, actually.
I didn't even notice that.
Yeah.
No, I noticed that.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Of course I did.
Okay, cool. I was worried. I was going to make sure you tell this story to the Monster Squad guys.
I got it. My other, I got like a weird like Shaun of the Dead vibe going on too. I don't know, like kind of the humor and like the way things looked and the way the people look. I don't know. There was sort of like, I felt like there was a very underlying Shaun of the Dead type thing going on there. I don't know why. That's just me, because I think it's one of my favorite films of all time.
Yeah, it might be something where how they at first don't even recognize that they're zombies or talk about that they're zombies.
That's kind of what it was. It was like we're not even talking about this that's going on here.
No.
Or it was just kind of like commonplace or something. It was,
yeah, he's the Guts guy that come clean up the mess.
The Guts guy's over there.
Yeah, it's totally normal.
Which brings me to what I was going to talk. Hellhole, Gregory.
Hello.
Hi, Greg. How are you?
I'm good. How you doing?
Good. I got some questions, man.
All right. What's up?
Where did you shoot this? Was it miniatures? How did you build that gigantic thing?
Yeah, we built it all in a warehouse. Yeah. Filmed it in a warehouse.
Okay. Like, did you to scale?
I mean, to what scale? To 1/10 scale, everything.
It looks like the car. Sometimes it looks a little miniaturish, like there's a car just going through, which is kind of cool effect.
It's always miniature, yeah. It's 1/10 scale the whole way through, yeah.
Okay. And where did this concept come from? I mean, it's, you know, obviously, I mean, there's a lot of humor in it as well, which I love.
Yeah. The concept Well, it's based off a real event where in the 80s, they were storing the Titan II missile, and a guy dropped a lug nut and almost blew up half of Arkansas. There's a really good doc on it called Command and Control. And I don't know, I rig things at work a lot, and I have nightmares about things like that all the time. So I wanted to make something that's like the ultimate of that.
Beautiful. It's a fun idea. It's a simple idea, which I love and I appreciate. But at the same time, like, it was all practical, wasn't it?
Yeah, no, I don't do anything that's not practical. Like, nothing you see in there you couldn't touch.
The beast is cool. The actual hell hole is opening up is very cool. Your actor was great. Goofy, weirdo.
Yeah, he's an angel.
Yeah,
real earnest vibes. Yeah, the whole thing.
Greg, when you're talking about building all this, how long did it take from when you really got rolling into when you actually like actual photography, and then when you were finished?
I mean, photography was I could only rent that warehouse for 1 week, so most of it was there. Anything where you see Marty as a real human, that's him in front of a large screen TV in my house, and we built a little car. And then so anytime you see him, he's in my living room in front of a large screen TV, like a rear projector, basically.
Right.
And but building, I built for like 6 months, just toiling away. There's something, it's just there's some things in there was a lot of gluing.
A lot of gluing. I like that.
Speaking of practical, Gonzola, are you there? I see you're on.
Hopefully.
We get to talk to you.
Cameras.
I gotta talk about Cubed Row. I have to talk about this film.
Yeah, hopefully you guys can hear me. My computer's a piece of trash, so
it kept
kicking me out.
Which is strange because your film is the opposite of that.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that.
I don't really know what to say or like how to describe this film, so why don't I just hand it over to you?
Yeah, so I came up with an idea in like 2013 of this, just like an idea for this kind of self-recycling reality, and then kind of built a really big story off of that. And then the idea was I wanted to make an anthology series that kind of, if you watched one episode, it was kind of all random stuff, but then if you watch them in, in any kind of order, you can kind of put those together. So then I made a short movie in 2016 to kind of start it off. And I was like, all right, that worked out. So I kind of wanted to, so I started this movie in 2017. It took about 4 years to make. And I just wanted to basically set up the game board and kind of explain the rules. And then hopefully if I can make more, I can kind of show you where I want it to go. But yeah, so the idea was hopefully I can make something that was just fun to watch and entertaining, even if you didn't know exactly what was going on. But then hopefully later, if I can make more, it's not just random stuff, it's all kind of connected with an idea behind it. So it's
you absolutely created an entire world that I'm craving more of. I'm starving for more of that world.
Cool, thank you.
Yeah, my girlfriend and I watched it together actually, and we were both like, what are we watching? And when do we get to watch more of this? So cool. I'm not sure if I know how to talk about concepts and all these kind of things. It's just kind of a bizarre, awesome, badass world. The characters are incredible. I almost call them like, what did I say? It's like it's almost like Star Wars creatures in like David Lynch world or something like that.
Oh, cool. Yeah, no, that's awesome. Thank you. I really appreciate that.
Kind of felt like that kind of like cantina scene, but like, why don't we just like put the cantina scene in Mulholland Drive or something?
yeah, it's fun to see weird characters like that try to figure out a problem. So that was kind of the idea. So I'm glad that came across.
Absolutely. Another one that sort of felt in the same realm to me was floaters.com. Where are you guys?
Hi.
Hi, you're down there. Okay,
right
you're
here.
behind a thing that says, click if you want to switch to a different microphone or speaker. So please, what are we looking at here?
With floaters? Andrew. Oh, I thought you meant on our visuals.
Our director is here on FaceTime.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Perfect.
Yeah,
we're on, Steve.
And yeah, we made floaters together.
Jim, right? Jim's the director.
Steve.
Okay. I'm talking to your Jim. Got it.
No, I'm Andrew. There's no Jim.
There's no Jim.
No. No
Sorry.
Jims. But
we
like a vaudeville bit.
Lot for me to know.
We made floaters 7 years ago.
Wow.
Together. Okay. It took a long time with all of we made it kind of in pieces, and Steve, our director here, is responsible for all of it, but all that animation, the claymation, the stop motion, was done in Brooklyn. And I'm sorry, I forget what the question. What was the question?
What are we looking at here? What's the story? Tell the viewers what the story is and
it's about it goes on to a lot of places, but in general, it's about a predatory sort of internet company that steals identities, but in a really extreme way. And it's about a couple employees who work there who get in a little over their head with some malfeasance, and there's lots of little layers in there that would take too long to talk about, but that's the line, I guess.
Yeah, it's this website called floaters.com that steals people and turns them into free trial CDs.
That's what
back with AOL. Yeah.
Okay, I got that pretty much. Yeah, like when they used to send out those AOL things. And,
that's exactly where we got the idea, actually. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. That was such a weird concept back then. You're like, why am I getting these things? I used to get a lot of them in the mail too. You're like, I'm already on AOL or whatever.
And now, it's like a total relic. Like someone born in 2005 would have absolutely no idea what that is.
It did have a nostalgic vibe to it, which I loved.
Yeah, I mean, I think Repo Man was a big influence for us.
Yes, it's in my notes. That's in my notes.
Okay,
Repo Man. I'm like, yes, that's like top 5 favorite film of all time. So
yeah, we all love that movie a lot, and this is maybe a little bit of a love letter.
Good, love it. Good job, man.
It's a love letter to Repo Man.
Yeah.
Yeah, like a hot apple pie with it. Perfect. Love it.
Thank you all for watching. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Definitely everybody watch floaters.com.
Repo Man. Floaters.com and Repo Man.
Oh yeah.
If anyone wants
Repo Man is played out. You should watch floaters.com.
We're done with Repo Man. It's floaters.com time now.
Yeah. There's a new guy in town.
There's a new floater in town.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Thank you very much.
Wow.
Thank you very much.
The powers that be are being powers that be. We'll see if actually we can just get cut off. We shouldn't be too shitty. What's next, Ryan? I know, get your list. Roll it.
We kind of want to talk to Patrick about coherence, because I'm a musician, and I sort of appreciated the long form, I guess, music video aspect of it, but it was shot it was gorgeous. It was kind of hard to take your eyes off of. Which came first, the song, the music?
I was some of the songs were kind of an acoustic guitar format. When I heard a friend of mine that was working with the artist, I heard them and I kind of thought they were producing them as more of a folky thing. And I started hearing them to be more cinematic. And I proposed to her to maybe change the production on them, get away from folk, make it a bit more cinematic, and then kind of start a world kind of concept album. Yeah. And then from that, I was kind of thinking about the idea of music itself. And when I wanted to do a concept album, I wanted music to sort of be more than just a sort of a trivial kind of, oh, it's a musical type thing. The music, there's the music and the film. I wanted the music to be integrated into the metaphysics of the world. And so it took a few years of like, as we were filming them, is wrapping my head around the idea. And then I started watching cymatics videos of just how grains of sand on metal plates interact with different tones. And immediately it started clicking that, oh yeah, there is a way to make music itself interact with physical reality. And then from that, I started kind of building out the backstory. And so, yeah, it was kind of everything at the same time. It all evolved at the same time together.
Is the woman, because I didn't do a little, I wanted to do a little research on it, but I didn't have time. Is the person that is in the on camera, is that the singer
Yeah.
of the actual song?
Yeah. Yeah.
And is it an actual band that did the music?
It's a band called Desire is the band
Right.
name. It's really her and then some supporting musicians with her, but it's primarily her. And then the production, it was me and her together. We both produced the music and the films together, the short films. So yeah,
it was meant to be a short film and not just like a series of like little music videos, right?
yeah, it evolved into, you're right in kind of saying it's a weird thing to quantify because it is kind of like an overlong music video, but it has the sort of narrative quantity of a short film. So
That's what I don't want to call it a long music video. That's kind
Yeah,
of like
yeah.
a cop out in a weird way. Because it actually is somewhat linear in a strange way if you're sort of following the path of this character. But the music and the journey will take you there. So
yeah, and I also wanted to like,
I also hate the word journey, so I can't believe I just said that.
But while I was writing them, I actually came up with like a comic book.
Oh, here we go.
To wrap my head around the
takes it
all
to
the
another
physical
level.
reality, because I wanted everything to make sense when it was all done, where you could see all the tiniest little details in that. Like there's paintings on the wall that have universal music from like the 1700s where people postulated that the planets would align in similar positions that the music notes would be on a scale. And so there's like all these tiny little details, and it was just sort of the fact that it took probably around 6 or 7 years from the time we started writing the songs until we were finished, allowed me to get all those little details in there.
Love it, Patrick.
Wow.
Thank you so
Wow.
much. It's a
Thanks
wonderful
for
piece of
watching.
art. I appreciate it very much.
Thank you.
Which brings me to Megan Duffy really quick. I think Megan made something very short and very important. And
Yeah.
I kind of like to maybe we're running out of time, but maybe end on this because I believe it's something that is something that we need to discuss. And I'm going to give you the floor.
I made What It Feels Like for a Girl about a year ago. It was originally just a piece I wanted to do for a filmmaker accountability group that I'm in. And I really wanted to explore the topic. Something that a lot of my female friends were finding is after they had COVID, or even after they got their COVID vaccines, all these weird things were happening with our bodies. Our cycles were off. We were having heavy periods. We were skipping periods, and no one was talking about it. And so I combined that with the rage that I felt over people who don't have our body parts making rules for our body parts. So I am so fortunate that I have two close friends who are my neighbors, Laura Drummerick and Tyler Curtis, who were good sport. And I wanted to just make a short film that was literally putting all of these issues in your face, or in this case, in Laura's face. So I'm really thankful that they were good sports. And we had a great composer, Eduardo, too, who I didn't think could make it today. But man, yesterday was a rough day. And I was so thankful that this film played in this festival during this time.
Mm-hmm. Which is exactly why I thought it was a good topic to, let sort of like flow out on this in a weird, so to speak.
Flat out, yeah.
So to speak, because I also believe that I'm very proud of you for making this. I'm proud of it being in this festival. I'm proud of Chris Storch for putting it there. And it's something that everyone needs to, see and hear and be a part of and keep up the fight,
And just if Laura and Tyler want to say hello. And Laura nailed that opening scene in only 5 takes. And our budget was $40.
So this is another thing that I like to talk about if we have time, is about budgets and how people get things made. I call them pizza and beer movies. That's sort of something I came up with. Hey, you want to make a movie? Come over. I got pizza and I got beer. And then you just do it, and it costs, like you said, $40. And then there's things that take 8 years to make, and you give your heart and your soul for like 8 years, and those things are one and the same to me. They don't have any separation. You can make something for 9 years, you can make something for an hour, and it all depends on your heart and your soul and your art and how you represent things. So I appreciate all of you as filmmakers. It warms my heart to watch everything. I watched 60 films in about a week, and I loved every second of it. I wish it was my actual job. I wish I got paid for it. But Andre and I love this process. Andre and I used to have a show on the Nerdist Network called Short Ends, where we actually did this, for a job, and we got to watch hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of short films, and it's just incredible to see everyone just out there in the world, all over the world, sort of speaking their mind, and that warms my heart, because film is very important to me. Art is very important to all of us, and we need it more than ever in this world right now, I think. So I thank you all very, very much for being here. And keep going, guys. Keep making things, anything. Make them every day.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And wrap up. I know we've got a couple more minutes, and I wanted to get to Found really quick, because I know Gene had a couple things that's everybody's screen. My screen keeps moving around, so my note, I can't keep track of anything. But I wanted to make sure, because Ryan said all these things are so important. We love shorts. I'll do the wrap up now, but we did have that show, and a couple of these filmmakers, or a few, have been on our show, and we want to keep doing that. And so please stay in touch with us. Please follow us. We'll follow you. We want to continue and keep making rad shorts. But Gene, let's chat a little bit about the process and what Found means in this whole context of kind of what we've been throwing around today.
Hi. Yeah, I'd love to chat. It's such an honor to be part of Chattanooga Film Festival. Found was very dear to me to make. Actually, we shot it a year ago, almost to this day. But speaking of the themes of isolation from the pandemic, this was very much rooted in that. And I went through an experience where a friend of mine went missing during the pandemic. And this was a reflection of how bizarre and surreal it was to just try to find any kind of answer or clue to where he was, from the bureaucracy of the police department to friends just being aloof. And then all in the while, I kept seeing like strange UFO clouds. And I had always thought about like the UFOs during the pandemic. So this was just basically a culmination of like all this strangeness and bizarreness. And thankfully my friend was found, but I wanted to capture that tone and also my love for 70s sci-fi and UFOs.
Well, it's certainly a great aesthetic that I don't think ever gets old, and we can keep using that kind of 70s sci-fi, which dovetails to 50s sci-fi, which goes back to 30s sci-fi. It never gets old.
Never gets old.
It never gets old. Look, Ryan did a great wrap up. I wanted to put my 2 cents in. Ryan mentioned Short Ends. This is when we really started to connect with filmmakers that make shorts. We love seeing your shorts and your short. We want to see you make features. We want to see you make television shows, and we want to stay in contact. And so when that happens, we can celebrate and signal boost and really just shout it out from the mountaintops, because this is where it all starts. And hopefully from this experience, I wish we were all sitting Riverside or at Aretha Frankenstein's having amazing pancakes in Chattanooga. But we can't. So keep making films, submit them so we can go to these festivals and hang out in person. I want to be friends with everybody here that I'm not already friends with. Some of you we are. Unfortunately enough for you, you're stuck with Ryan and I. And we're like a sucker. We don't, we just kind of we latch on there, and we don't go away. And if we escape in the toilet, we're all doomed. But please
there are
keep
also
making
so many
rad
people
stuff.
we didn't get to. I'm so sorry. Matthew Spector of that was wonderful filmmaking. Kyle made a great film called The Woodsman.
Yeah.
Please watch that. Inch Thick, Knee Deep is great. I love that film.
Trash Life.
I wish we had. Can we do another one of these?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's like,
why aren't we doing these like two
$2? Let's all hang out every once a month and talk about our stuff. Would be great. But look, Ryan put a lot of work into that, made a great notes list. We watched these films. We really appreciate being invited and being your hosts and moderators. I hope we become friends after this. And please follow us so we can stay in touch with all your rad stuff. Yeah.
Is that something that you're going to set up on Discord? I don't know how that works. I'm an idiot. Okay. Sure, let's go over there. All right, guys. Thank you so much. I appreciate all of you. I love you guys.
Awesome.
All right.
Love seeing y'all. Take care, everybody.